Hello students. Today we are going to learn part 2 of microeconomics chapter 2, that is theory of consumer behavior. In this chapter and in this second part, we are going to cover the demand and demand functions, which means that we would try to understand that what is demand, what are the factors which affect the demand, substitute and complementary goods, elasticity of demand, demand schedule, movement and shift in demand curve. So first, let's understand what is demand. Demand is defined as the quantity of commodity that a consumer is willing and is able to purchase in the market, keeping the other factor constant. Example, a consumer demands 5 kg of sugar in a month at a price of rupees 40, which means that in order to create a demand, consumer should have the ability to purchase and willingness to purchase. Only then a demand can be created. So demand can be classified into individual demand and market demand. When we say individual demand, it means the demand of individual person, and market demand means the demand for all the households in the market. Let's understand what is demand function. The functional relationship between the demand for a commodity and the factors affecting demand is termed as demand function. There are two types of demand functions. One, individual demand function, which shows how demand for a particular commodity in the market is related to its factor. Like, let's say, for example, there is person A, B, C, and that person is demanding 10 pen if the price of pen is 5 rupees. If the price of that pen increases, his demand will also change, because there is simple law which applies in law of demand, which says that as the price increases, demand decreases, and as the price decreases, demand increases. So individual demand function will show how demand for a particular commodity in the market is related to its factors. Now, those factors could be anything like income of the consumer or price of related goods or the substitute goods. When we talk about market demand function, it shows how market demand for a particular commodity in the market is related to its determinants. So when we talk about demand function, we have demand for commodity X. F is the functional relation. We have price of commodity, that is Px. Price of related goods is represented with PR. Y is consumer income. T is taste and preference of the consumer, because taste and preference of the consumer keeps on changing. So accordingly, the demand for the product will also change. Like, let's say, for example, if the taste and preference is in the favor of the commodity, then the demand will increase. And if the taste and preference is not in the favor of the commodity, then the demand will decrease. Then we have consumers' expectations regarding the goods, that how much he is expecting the prices to increase or decrease, and the population size, distribution of income, and composition of population, which is represented with PC. Now, there are certain factors which affect your demand, which means that there are certain determinants of demand. When you demand a particular commodity, then there are certain factors which may affect your demand, which may lead to either increase in demand or decrease in demand. So let's study which are those factors which can affect, or which can have an impact on your demand. The first one is price of the commodity. It means as the price increases, the demand decreases. And when price decreases, the demand increases. Second one is income of the consumer. In the previous one, there was an inverse relationship between price and demand. Whereas in case of income of the consumer, there is direct relationship between income and demand. So when income increases, demand increases. And when income decreases, demand decreases. So if the given commodity, like let's say for example, if the commodity is normal good, then the increase in income will lead to rise in demand, which is a direct relationship. Whereas if the commodity is inferior good, then the increase in income reduces the demand, while a decrease in income leads to rise in demand in case of inferior goods. The third factor which affects your demand is price of related goods. Now, when we say related goods, it could be either substitute good or complementary goods. So demand for the given commodity is also affected by change in prices of these related goods like substitute and complementary. Substitute goods are those goods which can be replaced in place of other. Like let's say for example that you went to shop to buy Colgate and you had only 50 rupees. You got to know that the price of Colgate has increased and the price of Pepsodent has decreased. Now that decrease in price of Pepsodent will make you change your demand. So now you will shift to Pepsodent instead of Colgate because the price of Pepsodent has decreased. And since Colgate and Pepsodent are substitute goods, you can use another one in place of other. So substitutes are the two goods that could be used for the same purpose. If the price of one good increases, then the demand for that substitute is likely to rise and vice versa. When we talk about complementary goods are those goods which are demanded jointly or which are demanded together. For example, car and petrol. An example for substitute, we can take it as tea and coffee for substitute goods. Like if the price of tea increases, then consumer will shift to coffee. So the demand for tea decreases and demand for coffee increases. But when we talk about complementary goods are those goods which are demanded jointly, like car and petrol. So if you purchase a car, you need to have a petrol or diesel or CNG. Without that, you cannot run a car. So they are complementary goods. Now this means that the goods demand is increased when the price of another good decreases. Like let's say for example, if the price of petrol increases, then demand for car will decrease. And if the price of petrol decreases, then the demand for car will increase. Another factor is taste and preference, which I have already said, that if the taste and preference is in the favor of the commodity, then the demand will increase. And if the taste and preference is not in the favor of the commodity, then the demand will decrease. Now here taste and preference is affected even due to advertising, fashion, or media. So all these also affects your taste and preference. Another one is expectations regarding the future price. We can also call it as a speculation. Now, if the price of certain commodity is expected to rise in future, so what will consumer do? They'll try to purchase it more of now. So presently the demand will increase because the consumer is expecting that in the near future price may increase. So it's better to buy more of now. And vice versa, if the consumer expects that the prices are going to fall in the near future, then presently demand for that commodity will decrease because now consumer would want to purchase the commodity in future when the prices are going to fall. Another factor which affects your demand is distribution of income, which means that in cases of equal distribution, demand for all sections of society will rise. And if the distribution of income is not balanced, then the demand for luxurious goods would be more if it's in the few hands. Like let's say, for example, if the distribution of income is in the hands of rich people, they are having, the portion of income contribution is more from the richer side, then the demand for luxurious goods or comfort goods would be more as compared to necessity goods. The next factor which affects is population. Higher is the population, the higher would be the demand. And lastly, the composition. If the population of a country has a greater percentage of youth, then the market demand for branded clothes or bikes or the products which are related to youth, their demand would be more into the market. We can see over here the diagram for substitute goods, wherein when the substitute goods are available or when the substitute for a particular commodity is available, then the product may be shifted. Over here we have Coca-Cola and Pepsi, that if the price of Coke increases, then people will switch to Pepsi. Or let's say when the price of Colgate increases, people will switch to Pepsodent. Whereas in case of complementary goods, if the price of one product increases, it affects the other also, same way, like petrol and car. Now let's understand what is demand schedule and demand curve. Now the tabular presentation of price and quantity demanded is called demand schedule, which means when your demand is presented in terms of tabular form, then it is called demand schedule. And when your demand is presented in form of graphical representation, then it is called demand curve. Under demand schedule and demand curve, we have individual demand schedule and curve and market demand schedule and curve. Let's say, for example, that this is the demand schedule for particular commodity. We can see the price and quantity demanded. So we can observe that due to inverse relationship between price and demand, the demand curve is always downward sloping. Over here, we can see the market demand schedule. Like let's say quantity demanded by A, B, and C at particular price. When we add A, B, C demand, that is 1 plus 1 plus 3, then we get 5. So 5 is the market demand for that particular point of price. So if the price is 4, the total demand in the market would be 5. And if the price is 3, the demand would be 10. So when we add all the individual demands in the market, we get market demand schedule. So now let's understand what is law of demand. We have studied all the factors which affects demand. Now out of all those factors which are affecting demand, the only first factor, that is price of commodity, we are going to keep that alone as a variable factor, and the rest of the factors which are there, we are going to assume it as a constant. So assuming that all the other factors being constant and price alone being a variable factor, when price of the commodity increases, the demand decreases. And when price decreases, demand increases. We can see that in demand schedule also. You can see the inverse relationship, that when the price is decreasing from 5 to 4, the quantity demanded is increasing from 100 to 200. This shows an inverse relationship between demand and price. And due to this inverse relationship, the demand curve is always downward sloping. Now, what are the assumptions of law of demand? The first assumption, as I said, that price alone is a variable factor, and the rest of the factors, that is population, taste and preference, income of the consumer, expectations, distribution of income, population, all these are constant. There is no change in any of these factors. Now we need to study that why demand curve is downward sloping. What is the reason behind downward sloping of demand curve? Or we can say that why does law of demand operate? The first obvious reason is law of diminishing marginal utility. Because for every additional unit to be purchased, the consumer is willing to pay less price. And secondly, income effect, which means that change in own price of the commodity causes a change in real income, which means that with the fall in price of the commodity, the real income of the consumer increases. Now, what do you mean by real income? Let's say, for example, that you went to the shop to buy all the stationery, assuming that it is going to cost you 100 rupees. When you went to the shop, the price of stationery were reduced. And now instead of 100, it's going to cost you only 60 rupees. So with the fall in price, your real income, that is that 40 rupees which you have saved, that is your real income. But why those 40 rupees are remaining? Because you went to the shop assuming that it's going to cost you 100, but because of fall in price of that commodity, it is costing you 60. So the remaining 40 is your real income. So with the fall in price of the commodity, the real income of the consumer has increased. So now consumer can buy more amount of commodity with that remaining income. That is called as an income effect. So in that income effect also, we can see the inverse relationship. Fall in price, increase in real income. Next one is substitution effect. It refers to substitution of one commodity for the other when one becomes relatively cheaper due to change in relative price. I gave you an example of Colgate and Pepsodent and Coke and Pepsi, that how change in price of one affects the demand for another. Next one is size of consumer group. When the price of commodity falls, it attracts all the new buyers to buy that product. And similarly, when the price of that product increases, then the existing consumer will exit the market because now due to increase in price, they cannot afford that commodity. Over here, example, milk is used for making curd, cheese and butter. So if the price falls, the demand for milk will expand. Now, when we talk about demand and factors affecting demand and why it slopes downward, there are also certain exceptions to the law of demand. The first exception where the law of demand is not applicable. Usually, what do we say? That with the increase in price, demand decreases. And with decrease in price, demand increases. But this law is not applicable in certain cases, like Giffen goods, where with increase in price, demand also increases. And with decrease in price, demand also decreases. So Giffen goods are the goods where higher price causes an increase in demand, reversing the usual law of demand. And the increase in demand is due to income effect of higher price overweighing the substitution effect. So let's say the idea is that if you are very poor and the price of your basic foodstuff, let's say bread is your basic food, if you are poor, it increases, then you cannot afford more expensive alternative food item. Therefore, you end up buying more of bread even if the price is high, because it is the only thing you can afford. Because when the price of bread increases, it means that the other things are going to be even more expensive for you. So even with increase in price of bread, the demand for bread has increased because that is your basic food item. So this is the case of Giffen goods, wherein the consumer tries to meet up with the expenses by cutting down the expenses on the other items so that they can consume bread. The second exception is conspicuous consumption or Veblen effect. The law of demand will not apply in case of costly items like diamonds. And these commodities will be demanded even if the prices have gone up, just because they want to show the status. And that is why we call it as a Veblen effect or conspicuous consumption. Certain commodities are necessity, so even if the price rise, the demand does not fall. Example, automobiles. Another exception to the law of demand is ignorance. When the consumer is not aware about the competitive price of commodity, he may purchase more of it even at a higher price. So in this case, the consumer, because he does not know about the competitive price in the market and he is ignorant of the present price, he may end up buying at the higher prices. The next is future expectation. If the price of particular good falls and it is expected that in future the prices are going to fall even more further, then the consumer may not buy that product immediately, which means that even with fall in price, the consumer is not ready to buy. So even with fall in price, the demand is not increasing because the consumer is expecting that in future the prices would fall even more further. Next is necessity. Law of demand does not apply on the necessity goods like medicine, salt, etc. So even if the prices of medicine or salt increases, we will have to consume it and buy it even if the prices are higher, because it's a necessity good. So these are the exceptions to the law of demand. So we can see linear demand curve, which is downward sloping, and linear demand curve can be written as follows. We can see in the diagram where A is the vertical intercept and minus B is the slope of demand curve. Now, over here at the price 0, the demand is A, and at price is equal to A upon B, and the demand is 0. Now talking about movement along the demand curve or change in quantity demanded. Here we are going to assume that price alone is a variable factor and the other factors are constant. We have already studied all the factors of demand or affecting demand. So in that we are assuming that price being variable, when price increases or decreases, the quantity demanded either increases or decreases, which means that with the increase in price, the demand decreases, which means there is contraction of demand. And with decrease in price, there is increase in demand from, let's say, if the price decreases from P1 to P2, then the demand increases from Q1 to Q2, which means that there is extension of demand. The reason why we call it movement along the same demand curve is all the movement, whether it is upward movement or downward movement, the movement are taking place on the same curve. Next is shift in demand curve or change in demand. Now, a shift in demand curve is caused by change in factors other than the price, which means we are going to assume opposite of movement, which means price alone is constant factor and the rest of the factors like population or income of the consumer, price of related goods, all those are variable factors. So let's say any one factor, income. If price is constant and if the income increases, then the demand curve shifts to right, and which means there is increase in demand. And if the income decreases, then the demand curve shifts to left, which means there is decrease in demand. So this is about the shift in demand curve or change in demand curve. Now, when we talk about elasticity of demand, there are three elasticity. First of all, we need to understand what is elasticity of demand. It means the degree of responsiveness in demand due to change in price of commodity or income or the price of related goods. So in short, when there is change in your demand, either due to change in price or due to change in income or due to change in price of related goods, then it is termed as elastic demand. So elasticity of demand can be of three types: price elasticity, income elasticity, and cross elasticity. Cross elasticity means when your demand is changing due to change in price of related goods, be it substitute good or complementary good. So price elasticity of demand shows the responsiveness or elasticity of quantity of demand of a good or service due to change in its price. We can see the 5 possibilities over here. There are 5 degrees to price elasticity of demand. First one is perfectly elastic, wherein the small change in price leads to infinite change in demand. In the second diagram, we can see relatively elastic, which means the percentage change in demand is more than the percentage change in price. The third one we have is in the curve is unitary elastic demand, which unitary means equal. So percentage change in price is equal to percentage change in demand. Fourth one we have is relatively inelastic, which is a steeper curve, and we can see that the percentage change in demand is less than percentage change in price. So ultimately it means that percentage change in price is more as compared to demand. And lastly, we have perfectly inelastic, which means There is no change in demand at all due to change in price. So these are the 5 degrees of price elasticity of demand. There are certain determinants of price elasticity of demand, which means when we say determinant, it means there are certain factors which affects your price elasticity. So the first one we can say, the more substitute, the higher is the elasticity, which means that if the substitute goods are available in the market, then your demand can be easily changed. Secondly, closeness of substitute. If the substitute is very close, like Coke and Pepsi, then the demand may change drastically. And the degree of necessity. The lower the degree of necessity, the higher is your elasticity. And the next one is proportion of income spent on the good. Now, you also have to see that how much proportion of income you're spending on particular commodity. Let's say salt. On salt, the proportion of income which I'm spending is very small. Whereas the proportion of income spent on, let's say, entertainment is higher. So you also need to see whether you're spending more on which commodity, and that would affect your demand. The next one is time period. The longer the time period spent considering, the higher is the price elasticity. Now, there are certain methods of measuring price elasticity of demand. The first method is percentage method, which means percentage change in quantity demanded upon percentage change in price. Or you can say that delta P upon delta Q into P upon. Next one, methods of measuring price elasticity. The second is total outlay or expenditure method, which means that when you want to measure the price elasticity of demand, we can also use total expenditure method, which simple terms means price into quantity. And the third one is the point method or geometric method. Just now I had explained you 5 degrees of elasticity of demand. So we can see that at point B it is unitary, at point A it is greater than 1, at point E it is infinite, at point C it is less than 1, and at D the matlab zero change in demand. Thank you.